What's up, YouTube? We're going to do a discussion today. Today I wanted to talk about why yo-yo companies don't really interact with the yo-yo community very much. So, the internet and the anonymity that it provides has made an awful lot of people, maybe not too many, but quite a few people, very comfortable with talking shit and not getting punched in the mouth for it. Now, I'm not advocating that anybody should be punched in the mouth. However, some things came up, some drama, so to speak, and it involved people that I like. So we're going to have a little bit of a discussion about it. Very recently, over the last couple weeks, my friend, man who I adore as far as a figurehead of the yo-yo community is concerned, Mr. Steve Brown, wonderful human being, and a the chief operating officer of CLYW. Wonderful dude, yo-yo legend, yo-yo grand master, and quite frankly, just a cool guy to be around and to hang around with and to see sometimes, and always neat to see a legend. Steve actually, indirectly through video cassettes that he was on, sort of taught me how to yo-yo. So y'all can thank Steve Brown for me a little bit. Maybe not really. There's probably like children and other things. Anyway, not important. But Steve went on to the Facebook BST. I haven't done this in a while. And said, hey, we want to reach out to you guys. What would you, the yo-yo community, like to see from CLYW? Now, a lot of people took that very seriously, myself included, and said, we want to see an updated Orca. Everybody really likes the Orca. I really like the Orca. I said, an updated Orca. People took it and were silly about it, and that's perfectly fine. That's a very yo-yo community thing to do. A lot of people, said, this person's signature, that person's signature, new signature for this person, reissue of this, reissue of that, and through the comments, reissue of the Chief came up. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Chief was one of the first yo-yos, sort of the flagship yo-yo of CLYW for a long time, back in the heyday, and it's got the double rim design. Basically, the Chief is sort of like the epitome of old school CLYW design in most people's minds, possibly mine included. So they did actually reissue the pickaxe. Not reissue. They released the pickaxe, which is sort of a smaller version of the Chief. It's great too. I don't know if it's as big and floaty as the OG Chief is, but it's it's a similar design with a similar sort of weight profile and etc. So really good yo-yo. The Chief, obviously legendary, and people had said, hey, let's reissue the Chief. Well, Steve just came out and said, the real reason that we haven't redesigned it and done that is because Chris and I have talked about this, and currently we're just not comfortable using the name, particularly with the way the branding is, being very sort of Native American centric. Neither of us are Native American. We're not comfortable with it. It feels to us a little bit like cultural appropriation, and we weren't sure how people would feel about the name change, but we don't want to call it the Chief moving forward. We'd like to rename it, call it something else, maybe do some tweaks here and there. That was the gist of what Steve had said. It was a very straightforward, like, hey, the reason we haven't is because we're not comfortable with the name. It feels culturally inappropriate at this time. Very straightforward, good message to have. If you know Steve Brown, he's a very progressive kind of guy, and I'm not shocked by that at all. Quite frankly, I don't care what you call the yo-yo. I think I would love to play a redesigned Chief, whatever it's called. You can call it the the executive or the master, the OG, the original, the best. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I don't name yo-yos, if you can't tell by what I just rattled off. And I don't care what you rename it. I think if you want to rename it, call it something that's still very CLYW. I think you need to go back to the things that are Canada, like mountainy, and maybe like animal names. Go back to animal names a little bit. That might be good. Call it the bison or the buffalo or something. Can you do that? Anyway, Is that Canadian? Do they have those in Canada? I haven't been to Canada in a long time. Anyway, but you know, Steve had just basically said we're not comfortable with it. We feel it feels culturally inappropriate. Fine, perfectly acceptable. However, this somehow started some sort of a, I don't know, I don't want to call it a race war, but like some sort of a just like firestorm implosion of drama. People were like, oh my god, blah, it shouldn't be, it's not cultural appropriation, blah, blah. And you know, you get that whole America's becoming a bunch of sissies, everybody's too sensitive, that kind of standard garbage. And that's garbage. It really is. Especially within a community that is growing, that needs to grow. You want to be accepting of everybody. So if you feel like, and there were people who had some Native American ancestry who said thank you for saying that, you know, we do feel that it might be a little bit, you know, appropriating of culture that we're not real comfortable with. And I appreciate that you said, you know, you didn't want to name it the Chief anymore because of how you felt about its cultural ties and how it ties to Native American people. There are people that said that, and I think that's the point. There are people who aren't as comfortable with it as maybe they should be, or they would be otherwise if it was called like the buffalo or like, I don't know, the bald eagle or something. I don't know, if it was just named after a random animal or something. You know, it's not as benign a name as like the Shutter or whatever. Decide that everybody's a wuss because, you know, they don't want to call a yo-yo a chief anymore. And that's stupid. Like, that doesn't belong in the yo-yo community. That type of notion doesn't belong in the yo-yo community. It's just, what an awful thought to have. Like, could you imagine getting worked up over the name change of a toy? Could you? I mean, you see this kind of crap on the internet all the time, and maybe the internet's just out there because people really like to make a big deal out of little things and blow them out of proportion to make other people feel bad, just because there aren't people there to stand up in those people's faces and either, you know, punch them in the face because that's kind of what they deserve, being a dick, but you can't on the internet because I can't hit you through the internet, or, you know, people, there's no repercussion to it. I mean, maybe some people get banned, but in addition to that, I've done a little bit of background research because it doesn't just stop at the surface area. It all goes back to the moderators. One of our great moderators, who will remain nameless at the moment, was given tons and tons of PMs based on this thread alone. Things PM to him worse than that. Stupid ideas like Steve should be banned. Yeah, okay. If Steve gets banned from the BST, I will ban myself from the BST. Crap about whether or not Chris is even involved in CLYW. He definitely is. Chris designs all the yo-yos. Just who owns CLYW? People getting mad about not deleting and banning social justice warriors, even though nobody's being a social justice warrior. We're just having a conversation, and the conversation came up. And yes, politics unfortunately gets wound into everything in our lives because we've made everything political. We can't just say, hey, let's be nice to people. Why is being nice to people political? It's not political. You know, if you want to talk about taxes or tax policy or anything like that, that's political. I can talk about that. I've got a law degree and a degree in political science. You guys want to talk politics? Let's talk politics. I could do that. I'll bore you to death. But I'm not going to do that because we're going to talk yo-yos. But sometimes political things, or just really things that deal with being nice to people, come up in yo-yo stuff. It happens. Nobody is paid off to hype CLYW, and there's really no reason to blow things like this out of proportion. It's just stupid. So back to the beginning of the video, back to what I had initially brought up. Why don't yo-yo companies talk to us? It's reasons like this. There are a few bad apples who will ruin the whole bunch. And I know that a lot of yo-yo players have maybe been around for a long time, maybe grew up in yo-yo, and at this point, you know, there's a little bit of bad blood everywhere. Just a little bit. That's just what happens after a long period of time. And the guys who make the yo-yos, at least the big yo-yo companies, CLYW or Yo-Yo Factory, the ones that have been around for a while, they've, maybe rubbed some people the wrong way over the last decade or so. And at this point now, there's just people on the internet just waiting to jump and pounce and be a jerk and be a dick on the internet. And there's no good reason to be a dick on the internet. There's no good reason to be a jerk within the yo-yo community, because we're just here to play with toys and have fun. There is literally nothing important enough going on with a yo-yo that should make anybody want to be a jerk to anybody else. Just be nice to each other, and be nice to the yo-yo companies and the people within the yo-yo community who want to interact with us. Thank God for Steve Brown. Steve Brown's got thick skin and is a nice guy, and can be a jerk if he wants to be too. So he does step up and interact with us, because he doesn't really care. Like, if you're gonna be nice to Steve, Steve's gonna be nice to you. If you're gonna be mean to Steve, he's either gonna ignore you or be mean back. And that's really the long and short of it. But everybody's not like that. There's plenty of people, and plenty of people have been driven out of the yo-yo community because people have just decided, hey, it's the internet and I can be as mean as I want. And they'll be mean to people, and it'll drive those people away. And it'll happen. It happens to yo-yo companies, to great yo-yo companies. It happens to great players and everything else involved. There's tons of players that don't interact. There's tons of people that don't interact in the yo-yo community anymore. And that's sad. So I think for 2019, we need to make a resolution. At least when it's dealing with yo-yos. Something that's just purely a toy and fun. We should be nice. Be nice to the yo-yo companies who are coming to us to say, hey, what do you guys think about this? Be nice about that. Be nice to the people within yo-yo who have given their time, their energy, and their knowledge to us and things that they've figured out, and don't be a jerk to them. That's the thing we should try to do in 2020. Be a nicer yo-yo community. Now, it's a great community, and it's not the gaming community or any of those communities that get really toxic all of a sudden. The gun community does, knife communities do, shoe communities, whatever you're into collecting, yo-yoing seems to be mostly nice people. But let's make it a point to try to be nicer people overall. And if you have an inkling of, I'm going to be mean on the internet about a yo-yo thing, maybe just shut up. Maybe just shut up. And maybe that should be your resolution for 2020. Anyway, that's my discussion today, guys. That's why a lot of yo-yo companies won't interact with us. But if we be better, maybe they will interact with us more. That's just my 2 cents. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Leave me some comments down below. Thanks so much for liking and subscribing. If you hit the like button, it helps the video. It helps me. East Coast Masters is coming. East Coast Masters 2020. It'll be held in Pittsburgh, PA, at the Ace Hotel. There's links down in the description. But thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. Cheers to you. I'll see you next time.